Good day and welcome to Bitawd. Today's deep dive, compound interest. I want to start with a choice, two options. Option 1, 6 million Birr right now in cash. Option 2, 1 Santim, that doubles in value every single day for 31 days. Which do you take? Most people take the cash. 6 million Birr is real. 1 Santim feels like a trick. Here is what actually happens. Day 1, 0.01 Birr. Day 10, about 5 Birr. Day 15, 164 Birr. Still embarrassing. Day 20, 5,243 Birr. The 6 million still wins by a lot. Day 25, 167,000, getting interesting. Day 30, 5.3 million. Day 31, 10.7 million Birr. The Santim beat the 6 million by almost double. This is compound interest. And today we are going to understand exactly why that happens, and what it means for your money, your debt, and your daily habits. The difference comes down to the shape of growth. Simple interest grows in a straight line. You deposit 10,000 Birr at 10%. Each year you earn 1,000 Birr, the same 1,000 every year forever. Predictable, flat. Compound interest grows differently. In year 1, you earn 1,000 Birr. But in year 2, you earn interest on 10,000 plus that 1,000, so 11,000. That gives you 1,100. Year 3, interest on 12,100. Your interest starts earning its own interest. The tree grows trees. The formula, A equals P times the quantity 1 plus R raised to the power N. A is your final amount. P is your principal. R is your rate. N is time in years. That small n sitting up there as an exponent is the entire story. N is not a multiplier. It is an exponent. That single structural difference changes the shape of the curve completely, and the shape is everything. Think of compound interest as 3 levers. The first is principal, how much you start with. Increase it and your wealth scales proportionally. The second is rate, your annual return. Increase it and the curve steepens. The third is time. Move the time lever even slightly and it dwarfs the other two. Most people obsess over finding the highest rate. The math disagrees. At any meaningful horizon, time as the exponent dominates everything else. A concrete example, 10,000 Birr at 10% for 20 years becomes 67,275 Birr. Nearly 7 times your starting amount with no additional contributions. Time did that. Plot simple and compound interest side by side over 30 years. For the first 10 to 15 years, they look almost identical. The compound curve barely separates. You could be forgiven for thinking there is no difference. Then the curve lifts. By year 25, the gap is staggering. By year 30, simple interest looks like a different planet. We call that gap the compounding gap. It only exists on the right side of the chart. You have to survive the left side to reach it. A quick tool worth memorizing, the rule of 72. Divide 72 by your annual interest rate, and you get the approximate number of years it takes your money to double. At 6%, 12 years. At 12%, 6 years. At 18%, 4 years. Simple, fast, and surprisingly accurate. Here is why most people never reach the compounding gap. They save faithfully. They check their balance after 5 years and see modest results. It does not feel like the math promised, so they stop. What they are standing in is the valley of disappointment. It is the flat section of the J-curve, the years before the inflection point where exponential growth becomes visible. Every compound curve has one. You cannot skip it. The breakthrough only exists on the other side of the valley. Patience is not a personality trait here. It is a mathematical requirement. Consider Sarah and Melaku. Sarah starts investing 100,000 Birr a year at age 20. She does this for 10 years, stops completely at 30, and never adds another Birr, just lets it sit at 10%. Melaku starts at 30. He invests 100,000 Birr every single year for 35 consecutive years, all the way to 65. So Sarah puts in 1 million Birr in total. Melaku puts in 3.5 million, 3.5 times as much. Who ends up with more? Sarah does. She finishes with about 45 million Birr. Melaku finishes with about 27 million. Think about that. Sarah invested a third of what Melaku did, stopped at 30, and still ends with 2/3 more. Her 1 million Birr grew nearly 45-fold. His 3.5 million grew less than 8-fold. The difference is the head start. Every Birr Sarah invested early had an extra decade, sometimes 3 or 4, to compound. And at 10%, a single decade of compounding outweighs millions in extra contributions. Time beats capital. You cannot fully compensate for a late start by saving more. The exponent has already done its work. Now the other edge of the sword. Compound interest does not care which side of the ledger you are on. If you carry debt, credit card balances, high-interest loans, interest compounds against you with the same mathematical force. A small balance left unpaid grows into something that feels impossible to escape. That is not bad luck. It is the same curve pointed down. Inflation works the same way. If prices rise 5% a year and your money sits idle in cash, your purchasing power is not losing 5% linearly. It is compounding downward. In 20 years, the erosion is severe. Idle cash is a slow loss that accelerates. This law does not stop at money. James Clear in Atomic Habits makes it concrete. 1% better each day, and you end the year 37.78 times better. Jeff Olson's Slight Edge. Every small action either builds you or decays you, slowly and visibly, until the results are undeniable. Darren Hardy in The Compound Effect proves that success is the product of small decisions, made consistently over time. Jim Collins calls it the flywheel effect. Sustained, consistent effort that compounds quietly until the breakthrough arrives with seeming suddenness. And Naval Ravikant in his Almanack says it plainly. All the returns in life, in wealth, in knowledge, in relationships, come from compound interest. Knowledge compounds, skill compounds, reputation compounds. The direction is your choice, the math is not. 3 rules. Start today, time is the exponent, and every day you wait costs you a day on the right side of the curve. Be consistent, the valley is real, and the only way through it is through it. Be patient, the magic lives past the inflection point, not before it. Compound interest works for those who understand it. It works against those who don't. See you on the next deep dive.